Hello everybody, Celestia Allure here. Today we are going to be ranking the new elite specs along with all the old specs in terms of the viability in PvP. Now this is not a video saying that if you play one of these specs that, if you play a D spec you're just bad in your throwing. I'm gonna go ahead and preface this with all specs can be played in any PvP game mode as long as you're willing to accept that you'd be better on something different. So with that being said, we're gonna rank all the old ones first, and I'm going to go into very little detail of why they are where they are. So the first one that we'd like to go on is Firebrand. Firebrand is S tier only because of World v World. It's like the support stability class. Not really much to say there. It's the best. Same thing with Chronomancer. It's one of the best supports for stability. It'll be the best even whenever the new specs come out as well. It's just both of these will be super solid picks even today, tomorrow, probably into the future of like forever for Guild Lords unless they do some major changes. Now, Reaper's a solid pick. They're good in both SPP and Bubble World. Bubble World Power Reaper's fun to play. It's good. Condition Reaper's good too. They're fun. They're easy to play. Good class. Scourge, I would actually say it's a little bit. I would probably say it's better than Reaper. It's on the verge of being S tier. It's almost the best. Once again, this is primarily because of its usefulness in World v World and its ability in SPVP. If this was a strictly SPVP chat, it would probably be closer to a C. But it's not. I'm gonna count both of the World v World game modes. Both of the PvP game modes as together for this. There's more the usability, like if you're gonna want to learn how to play a class, Scourge would be a solid pick. Dragon Hunter, I'd probably put in B. Dragon Hunter is a little bit of a mixed bag. It does good in certain scenarios, but it really lacks a lot of things, and it's almost unusable in the world, to be honest with you. Not a lot of people want to play it. They don't play it for varied reasons. The damage is too predictable. It's got too long of cooldowns to be good in Bubble World, and in PvP, it is fairly good, but you'd probably get more value out of just playing Willbando. Honestly, probably even Luminary whenever it comes out. So Dragon Hunter is just it's good, but it's a B tier pick. It's B. For Berserker, it is still an S tier pick. Once again, this is primarily because of World v World. It's not super good in the SPVP. Now, it's not too bad in the 1v1 condition build that people use, but it's not like amazing. You're not going to be carrying the team with it. It is just a solid pick for World v World, and it's a decent pick for PvP. Boon Sworn, Blade Sworn, it's bad. It's just it's bad in PvP. Honestly, it's there. Honestly, it's a D pick. It's memey, it's funny, it's not very good though. It used to be broken, but they fixed it since then. Now, for Catalyst tier, I would really put it at S tier. I'd really put it, but here's the thing I will say about Catalyst. Okay, it is okay in PvP given in the right hands. It's okay. It is a very solid pick in SPVP, but in World v World, if the right people play Catalyst, it is super good, and it is one of the strongest burst classes in the game right now. It's a super solid pick, definitely if you know how to play it. Daredevil, now, really, A pick is being generous for it, but I'll be a little bit generous, okay? Now, the reason it would go in A tier is that SPVP and a Daredevil is super good if you're good on the class, but if you're only okay, you're not gonna have a super fun time. You're gonna be getting killed a lot. It's one of the more difficult classes to play, despite most thief builds damage coming from just the 3 button. But besides that point, it is a really difficult class to play proficiently. they're Dead Eye, I would say it's about the same as definitely with the recent well, with the nerf and the elite being able to go back into stealth every single time. It is a solid pick. You could maybe argue that it's A tier pick in like warming scenarios, but in general gameplay, it's awful. It's bad. Um, honestly, honestly, I talked myself into it. Honestly, it's lower than that. It's lower than Dragon Hunter. Dragon Hunter would be more usable in most scenarios. So it's a C tier pick, but it is good to be annoying on for roaming. So if you want to roam around, it's pretty decent. Druid is an S tier pick. It is a super solid class. It's really good in, well, it's not super good in PvP, but it is still a solid pick in PvP. But in World currently, it is one of the best supports that you could have. So it's right up there with the Firebrand and the Mesmer, well, the Chronomancer, for being super viable and being one of the best supports. Now, the only thing with Druid inherently is that it does get changed a lot, because it's had times where it wasn't the best. So this is subject to change pretty often, to be honest. Now with Herald, Herald is a little bit of a mixed one, because it is technically meta right now in the SPVP meta, but realistically, I think it's a B. It's only meta due to the fact that it's very good versus Power, and Power right now it is the in thing to play. So if you run into people who play AF builds, like condition based builds, you will not be having a super fun time if you're playing the Herald, even in PvP. In World, Herald is practically useless. So honestly, this is just a PvP ranking for it. Now for Hub, you have to give it the S tier ranking. Only once again, well, I guess you can say it's roaming too, but roaming in SPVP is why it would get the S tier ranking here, because it is one of the best classes for SPVP and roaming. Now, given this is only small scale fights, like 1 to 2 people in roaming, but it is guaranteed the best class for that. Hollow Mentor is another little bit one that's a little bit tricky, because you could probably say that it's an A. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of damage in World, so I guess if we're gonna go with that, it's probably the first. It's a solid A tier pick because of its damage that it does in World. But once again, in SPVP, you're not gonna get a whole lot of value out of Hollow. You know, Hollow itself. The engineer class as a whole is fairly good, but as the Hollow itself, it's only really an A tier pick because of World. The damage that it does is super high. Mechanist is D. Don't even need to go on. Don't even need to explain why it's bad. For this Mesmer spec here, now it would be a little bit. I would probably say that this is right here, but this is mainly an SPVP ranking once again. This specialization is super strong. Mesmer as a whole is super strong in in season PvP. My bad. To be honest with you, so that's a solid pick. It is good. It is one that you could definitely play. Now for Renegade, people really are hyping up Renegade right now, but honestly with you, it's a B tier pick. I don't think it's as good as people are leading you guys on to be believed on. That's it's good. It is a good pick, and just because people who are super good at Revenant play Renegade and they play Herald too, and they leave you guys to believe that it's an amazing class and it's 10 out of 10, the best thing you'll ever see. But realistically, these two classes are super. Renegade and Herald are both more complicated to play than other specs in the game, and just because you see the best players doing super good with it does not mean you'll get to that point, and it's just not going to be on the level for 95% of the population. Now, Scrapple has to go into S tier because of its Bobby World ranking. Once again, its PvP rating is probably on the lower side, but you could probably argue Scrapple is still good in PvP, but on the Bulby World front, it's still one of the best supports. Unfortunately, I think it's to be nerfed, but I digress. It has not been, so it is still the best support. Soul Beast, it's honestly probably a B. Now, I love Soul Beast. I think it's a super fun class to play, and it's got a lot of defensives. It's a good class, but if you're fighting people who are decent at the game, Soul Beast is super easy to counter. So it's a B tier pick. It's an okay pick. It is not gonna change anything. Now, for the warrior spec right here for Spellbreaker, I would probably tentatively put it at B. You could probably even argue that it's a C, but we'll tentatively put it at B because it is still a good 1v1 dueling spec. So you could argue that it is still a viable spec to play on like a higher tier. Now, Spectre gets 100% in the S tier for two reasons. It's a solid pick in the 1v1 category, in the 1v2s, and as a roaming class in Bulby World, it's super good. But in the flip side of that too, it's also a super good support class in Bulby World. It's slept on because, unfortunately, conditions are a thing, and it doesn't have a whole lot of condition cleanse. But if you pair it with a condition cleanser like Druid or Scrapple, kind of Ellie, the Tempest, we'll go into that in a second. Tempest is also pretty good. But if you pair it with one of them, it's one of the half healing classes in the game. It is still a super solid pick, even though it's recently nerfed. It is one of the best supports in the game, super slept on in a Bulby World scenario. Tempest would be an A tier pick. It's not gonna. It's a super solid pick, but it's not gonna break up anything. It's okay. It is a good pick to play. It's fun. It's got good revival. It's super solid, but it's not game defining as it is currently in any game mode. Other than, I guess maybe you could argue it's game defining in PvE, but we're not ranking things based on the PvE performance. Untamed, same thing. It's super solid. It's definitely better than Soul Beast. This is mainly an SPVP rating. It's super solid. Some people play it in Bulby World for some very specific scenarios or builds that they want to go for. But as a whole, it's a solid pick. It's just not game defining. Unfortunately, Vindicator is probably a C tier pick. I do love Vindicator. Well, guess Vindicator as a class, but it's not very good in PvP. It's not very good in Bulby World. It is unfortunately a bad class. Honestly, you could probably put it into D tier there, but it is unfortunately not a good class. Now, Virtuoso, once again, you could probably argue it's S tier, but we'll put it in A tier. It's super solid. It does a ton of burst. People love to play in the one-shot meta in Bulby World, and it's super good in PvP as well. But you could probably argue it's S tier, but we're gonna put it in A because it's not super useful in large scale Bulby World fights, but in like 20s and DVDs or Rastal versus Rastal, it's super good to play if you're playing one shot pick off people builds. Weevil, both in PvP and in Bulby World, it's just bad. Unfortunately, it's been nerfed too many times. Doesn't have the sustain it used to. It's just a bad class to play. Even in the roaming, as like a Selly build, it's just not doing good right now. It is unfortunately pretty bad. So, Willbander's kind of a hard class. I probably have bias with it, but I would say for the average person, it's a B tier pick. For the average player, it is B tier. It is easy to be okay with Willbander, but whenever you run into an actual good Willbander who's actually proficient at the game, it's easily one of the best classes to roam on, to do SPVP with. But whenever you're average at the game, Willbinder is much more of a throw pick than a actual solid, viable player. Now, we're actually getting into the new classes. I do believe that Luminary will be an S tier pick. Now, people have been hating on this because of the Shroud mechanic, but I just don't see how you're not gonna play this in Bubble World metas. It will be, honestly, it needs to be like right there. These aren't really in order, but if hypothetically if it was going to be in order, it would be something like this. Luminary is super good. The only thing it's missing is it needs resistance. Because Firebrand does give a little bit, but Luminary gives almost none. So, but it gives so much stability. You have F3 pretty much on every engage if you want it to be up. It's super good. Now, Ritualist is probably, if I had to put it somewhere, I would probably say it would be an A tier pick. I do not think this Ritualist will be a meta defining class. I do not believe so. It just does not seem to be the case in this specific point in time. Maybe whenever they do the balance changes after the beta, it'll be meta defining, but as of right now, I do not think it will be. Now, Choblador, honestly, I thought it was really bad in the beta, so really, I'm gonna put it at a D. It wasn't very good. It doesn't give nearly as much support as even Chrono Man, so I think they need to go back and buff up this class a little bit more for it to be the support that they envisioned it would be. Now, Evoker, it's going to be a C tier pick, only because it has really high healing, kind of like the Spectre does. So really, you could put it here, like since I put Spectre there. But as it currently sits, Ellie is better used on different scenarios. You'd be better off playing Tempest or playing a one-shot Catalyst if you could. Right now, it is just better in other scenarios. It would be a throw pick, but not a total throw pick. That's why it's not in D. Antiquarium, it's D pick, easily D in the PvP game modes. It will take really skilled thief players to make Antiquarian be decent, I think. But we will see it probably be decent. Now, what's the name of this one? Windgale, I believe. In PvP game modes, it's gonna be a C. It'll have some NIS scenarios, but it's not as good as Soul Beast. It's not as good as Untamed. It's not as good as Druid. It's probably arguably not even as good as Base Ranger. So realistically, it's got a high amount of damage on it, but the sustain is just not there. It's not where it should be. So if they can fix that and keep the damage being the same, then we'll see how it goes from there. Don't even need to say it. Amalgam in the beta was game breaking almost. Well, it's not game breaking, but it was super good. If it stayed even kind of how it is, it's up here. But it probably won't. So that will probably get dropped down to an A tier. Because as Amalgam stands without the numbers on its side, it's an A tier pick. It's not super good. But the way the numbers are tuned right now, it's a solid S tier pick. So as of right now, I do believe that this will change, but that is an S tier pick. Now, Paragon did better than I expected it to, but I do believe that it's a B tier pick. I do not think even in world scenarios it is going to be as useful as people are saying it will be. I believe it will be a NIS pick that you pick for support in season PvP if you're playing Warrior, but I do not think that it will be a world meta pick. Hey, you have to run this. I believe it will be something in between. Conduit. Honestly, we need to make it an F tier here. It is. I do believe that this class, some people are hyping up the ground-based teleport on it. It's not that useful. This isn't going to change up SPVP. It's not even going to change roaming. Conduit needs to go back to the drawing board. It's unfun to play. It doesn't have any percent, so it does low power damage. It is a bad class. It needs to be redesigned entirely. They need to go back to the drawing board with it. But this is just my thoughts on the current alignment of the of the SPVP in the real world meta, if you was going to want, if you only had time to learn one class, I would put my time with like this. Like if I wanted to learn, if I'm new to Guild Wars 2, I would want to learn these S tier classes. Well, probably not Spectral, but but Spectral is super good. But I probably wouldn't, because a lot of people aren't gonna let you play it. But it is a super good pick. It's just slept down. But I would put my time into learning these classes. But with that being said, I do believe you should play whatever you think is the most fun. So honestly, if you have more fun with other classes, or if you like some of these classes that are lower on this tier list, just learn how to play them. Every class will be usable in SPVP as long as you're decent at it. So in the world, however, that's not exactly the case. But for the most part, you can at least be decent at it in the world if you take the time to learn and play your class effectively. So, with that being said, those are my thoughts on the new classes and the new tier list per se. I do believe that this is 100% correct, but if you disagree, you can type it out in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys later.